of Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are Ohio.
Home is where the heart is. And home is where the Indians will be for the next 9 and 20 of their next 25 overall. Home is where the Tribe has thrived, posting a record 10 games above 500 in the fewest amount of home games in the major leagues. Home is where Mike Napoli and Francisco Lindor have been hot, leading an offense, averaging almost 6 runs a game at Progressive Field. Home is where the Indians host the first place Washington Nationals next on Sports Time Ohio. Boy, is it good to be back home. Progressive Field, downtown Cleveland. The Indians ready to start a 9-game homestand tonight with the first of 2 interleague style against the Washington Nationals, who come in leading the National League's Eastern Division. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. The Indians, of course, leading the American League Central Division. Tribe went 4-5 on a road trip. The Nationals coming off a homestand in which they went 4-5. So it'll be interesting to see as the Nationals embark now on a long road trip. The Indians coming for a long homestand, how these two teams match up here tonight. Let's start with Washington. Bryce Harper. Last year he was the National League's most valuable player. Different story so far this year. He comes in mired in a 5-for-45 slump.
Well, one of the best hitters in the game of baseball when he's swinging the bat the way he is capable of swinging it. You're right, though. What they have done this year is they pitch around him. They're going to make somebody else in the lineup beat him. You remember, he had a game against the Cubs this year. They walked him 6 straight times so he didn't hurt him. And that's what they've been doing to him. He leads all of baseball in walks with 75. So we'll see how the Indians choose to go. First overall pick in 2010 draft. You've heard a lot about him. We haven't had a chance to see him a lot. This will be his first game playing in this ballpark. I want to see how Salazar attacks him.
Speaking of Danny Salazar, he hasn't lost a game in 2 months, but he'll get the start here tonight.
Well, he's won his last 7 decisions out of his 9 starts, coming off a good start against Kansas City. And Danny, as you know, he's got an explosive fastball, that changeup. But if he can command that fastball early in the game and set a statement to those Washington hitters, he should be fine, because they haven't seen that goofy changeup that he has. He's 2-1 this year against the National League in his 3 starts. But he's going to go up against a left-hander, Gio Gonzalez. Again, against the Indians, he's been brilliant. A 5-0, a .81 earned run average, a left-hander that's tough to pick up, for right-handers coming out of the other side of the arm.
Danny Salazar will be facing a Washington lineup, though, that has 8 hitters who are already in double figures in home runs. We'll be back with tonight's first pitch. Plus, we'll check in with Andre Knott, who has the news on the Indians' Heart and Hustle Award nominee for this year. Cleveland Indians baseball is brought to you by W.B. Mason, the official office supplier of the Cleveland Indians. By McDonald's, I'm loving it. And by your local Toyota dealers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. we're just about ready for baseball here at Progressive Field tonight. So before our first pitch, let's get the final word from Andre Nye.
Well, the Heart and Hustle Award was given out tonight to the one and only Mike Napoli. We've talked all season about how he's taken first to second base or third base with balls in the dirt. So tonight's Hear Right Sounds of the Game is Mike Napoli on winning this award.
The things I do, around the game of baseball and on the field, it's not to win awards or anything, but I'm just myself and do the things that I believe in and play the game the right way. So it's something special, but I got to do it with the group around me and the people around me, in my life, and they've definitely put me in the right direction to be able to do these things. I'm happy I'm in a position to be able to do that. I'm grateful for all the fans and everyone that bought shirts, and it's definitely going to a good cause to help children. So it was a good turnout. So I don't know, we still selling shirts, still donating. So I encourage people to keep buying them and help out the children.
Well, you can keep buying the shirts, but Napa's going to match over $35,000 to 108stitches.com. Also, guys, with the boys back in town, when they started this whole long road trip and all these road trips, they played 29 of the last 42 on the road. When that started, they had a one-game lead in the Central. Tonight, when they start 20 of their next 20 or 25 at home, they have a 5.5-game lead. They've made a lot of noise on the road. Now it's time to do it at home.
Yeah, no question about it. They have been a battle-tested team on the road, which means they play more games on the road than anybody.
Right?
So that means, logic would tell you, they have more home games remaining on the schedule than any other team in the major league. So hopefully they can take advantage of home cooking the rest of the way. Indians take the field behind Danny Salazar tonight. Salazar looking for his 12th win of the year. And while he gets ready to make his warm-up pitches, we'll have a look at Dusty Baker's starting lineup for the Washington Nationals. Their young superstar of the future, Trey Turner, will lead it off. That's their superstar of the present, Bryce Harper. He's batting second. Daniel Murphy hits third. Then it's Wilson Ramos in the cleanup spot. Jason Worth, the veteran DH, will hit fifth. Anthony Rendon sixth. Then it's Ryan Zimmerman just off the DL, making the start at first base. Fantastic young shortstop Danny Espinosa will hit eighth, and Ben Revere, the former Twin, will bat ninth.
And tonight's Northern Ohio Honda starting pitcher is Danny Salazar. Salazar will be making his 19th start. He's won his last 7 decisions, coming in 9 starts. And this guy, he is one of the best when it comes to getting run support. His teams have backed him all year long. He gets over 7.5 runs per game. He's been tough on left-handed hitters. And I'll tell you what makes him really tough with runners in scoring position. Hitters hitting just 134 off him, which is the second lowest average. And he's pitched very well in his home ballpark. He is 5-1 on the year, 2-1 against the National League. Let's set the defense behind him, brought to you by Jeep. It looks like this. In the outfield, it'll be Ramirez in left, Davis in center, Almonte over in right, Uribe at third, Lindor at short, Kipnis is at second, Napoli is at first, Perez doing the catching.
The umpires tonight, Alan Porter will have the plate. Jeff Kellogg, your crew chief, is at first base. John Tumpane at second, Chris Guccione down at third. And with that, we're ready for baseball. Danny Salazar will square off against Trey Turner. And a fastball in there for strike one. According to Baseball America, Turner was the 9th best prospect in baseball. This guy has serious speed. I mean, there's players you talk about, oh, so-and-so's got good speed, this guy's got good speed. This guy's fast.
They say he's one of the fastest right-handed hitters they've seen in a long time, so we will get our first look at him.
He's reached base in all 7 games that he has played since the All-Star break. Salazar missing 3-1.
Well, that was going to be my first point for Danny, commanding the fastball early. Sometimes he has issues with it, and he gets to that changeup or breaking balls early. He did throw some sliders in his last start against the Royals, where he was very good getting ahead in the count.
And a foul right back on a 3-1 pitch. Full count. So important for any pitcher to come out and try to establish that fastball early. But he yanks that one and threw it in the dirt. Ball 4. Not a guy you want to put on the bases. Well, this is a situation that teams have dealt with now since he was the unanimous MVP of the National League a year ago. What do you do with Bryce Harper? You pitch to him and you work around him. And when Gio Gonzalez takes them out, we'll talk more about his repertoire. But now you've got Trey Turner at first base. Bryce Harper at the plate. And he is off with the first pitch. And the throw nowhere near in time. I mean, he stole that with ease.
Now, you talk about it, his speed. He showed it right there. Wasted no time. Has never seen, you know, a Salazar move before, but he goes on the first pitch. So that's the 4th stolen base allowed by Salazar. Bounce in the dirt, so he gets himself in scoring position. This is how you want it. You want to face Harper with nobody on, so you don't really have to be aggressive with it. But left-handers, as I mentioned earlier, have a tough time hitting Danny at a 193 average.
Harper fouling it back in the count 1-1. Bryce Harper has been in a prolonged slump, especially for him. And he gave some insights into that slump in a really good story in the Washington Post. Just how much, even for a great player such as Harper, it becomes a mental game.
Oh, absolutely.
He said, you know, I've tried to
start pitching around you.
He said, I've tried to tune the noise out, but he said advice comes from so many people and so many different angles. That's hit pretty well, deep to center, and back is Davis. He's at the wall, and he will make the catch for out number 1. And Harper can only turn and walk back to the dugout, head down, though he does get Turner to third base with 1 out.
Exactly. You know, that's what I wanted to do. You don't want to give up the lead early if you don't have to. He just missed this ball. Maybe just a hair off the end. Going to the deep part of the ballpark. He was right on that pitch, though. As you mentioned, though, he moves Turner over to third base. It'll give the Nats a chance to take an early lead with the league's best hitter coming to the plate.
Daniel Murphy, left-handed hitter. You've got the right-handed hitting catcher, Wilson Ramos, waiting on deck. So here's a question, Rick. Do you pitch to Murphy in this situation?
Well, it's early. You got to go out and you're going to have to pitch to somebody. I mean, he's got right now establishing himself in this first inning.
Murphy was the NLCS MVP last year with the Mets in October.
Boy, he's having a great year, too, to this point. He's got 30 doubles, 19 homers. You know, he's got 53 extra base hits, 73 RBIs, leading the league with a .355 batting average. That's some kind of season. It don't looks like he might be, you know, pitching around him, going at him with changeups and things like that. You know, Washington at home, they hit .235 with runners in scoring position. Away from their home, .267.
I wonder too, when you don't face a team very often, you know, in interleague play, you have these kind of matchups. Do the scouting reports tend to build a player up maybe bigger than what you think he is because you don't face him very often?
Well, your scouts are watching, but he has never seen your stuff before. So as a pitcher, I would think you have an advantage, but you still have to execute your pitches. And hitters are geared for one thing. They know Salazar has a fastball, but Murphy went after that 2-0 changeup right there. Danny didn't give in to him, and he had him out in front, but he's going to get a look.
That fastball fouled away.
There's the fastball he wanted in the 2-0 count. He was a little tardy on it.
Kia in the driver's seat shows you that Daniel Murphy and his teammate, who is in the on-deck circle,
right.
are the top 2 hitters in the National League. And look at that. Teammates Ryan Braun and, or not teammates, but Christian Yelich down in Miami is 5th. Ryan Braun, DJ LeMahieu. All those guys pretty tightly packed together. I don't know if anybody's going to catch Murphy the way he's been swinging it this year.
Well, he was right on that pitch. Now you see he's seen pretty much everything that Salazar has to offer in this at bat. He's done a nice job in his 11-game hitting streak with 17 RBI. Well, he broke out last year in the postseason. Boy, what a year. He carried the Mets.
Swung on and fouled down into the right field seats.
Watch out. He has that nitro zone down and in. You got to be careful down there with this guy. Take a look at this pitch on our Nissan pitch tracker. You go down in there, that's his zone. Boy, he's not afraid to, he's quick in there.
Runner at third, 1 out. We're in the first. Salazar's 2-2. Spiked it well in front of the plate, and a good block by Perez. Full count. Just underway here at Progressive Field. Leadoff walk to Trey Turner. He stole second, went to third on a deep fly ball to center by Bryce Harper. And now the payoff pitch to Daniel Murphy. Shoots it to third. It gets by Uribe, and the Nationals take the lead.
That ball looked like it got on Uribe in a heartbeat, but he did a nice job to get to that pitch and slap it the other way with that man on third. But it looked like, now it's down and away. Look at him. He was just protecting. He wasn't going to give in anything. And slaps a nice little line drive. It looked like Uribe was there. Just couldn't handle it. That ball skips up. If he catches it, that run does not score. So they will play from in front. 1-0 here in the first on a base hit by Murphy.
And that will bring up Wilson Ramos. When the Nationals score first, they're 36-15 on the year. Danny Salazar now facing Wilson Ramos. He's having a nice year. Second only to Daniel Murphy in batting average in the National League, and he's
put together a really nice year. You know, and their lineup's a little different too with Harper. Isn't this the first time he's been in the #2 hole
this year?
Yeah.
Now Ben Revere was leading off, but you got the youngster Turner leading off, so Dusty Baker changing it up.
Well, you walk him and he promptly steals second base on the first pitch.
He's really overpowered Ramos so far in this at bat with his fastball. It's 1-2. He has not been able to gear up. Out of play, right side. And a 1-ball, 2-strike count. The Indians playing the Washington Nationals for the 10th time. They've gone 5-4 against Washington, but this is a franchise that came from Montreal. So if you go back to their days as the Expos, the two teams have split 12 interleague games. Now 1-2 pitch. Popped up foul again, but again, if you're going to go back and look at the Indians when they matched up against the Montreal Expos, you might as well go back and look at the Indians when they matched up against the Washington Senators, because the numbers are sort of irrelevant because that was
are.
so long ago. The
I
franchises are completely different.
They really are. But you know, that's when they moved from Washington to, from Montreal to Washington. You got to incorporate those numbers.
The history went with them.
Yeah, exactly.
A 1-2, swung on and missed. He overpowered him again with a fastball. 2 down.
First strikeout, elevated the fastball. Throws it by Ramos. This will be our Circle K strikeout of the night. And there it is, elevated. You're not going to reach up there and get it. He realizes that. He went after a bad pitch, but comes up empty, and you get the second out of the inning.
And up comes Jason Worth. Jason Worth and Mike Napoli. If those two batted in the same lineup, they can wear a pitcher out just with their at-bats alone. Those two guys see more pitches than anybody in baseball. Just missed outside. No surprise, it's 2-0. Napoli sees a major league best 4.59 pitches per plate appearance. Jason Worth is 9th in the bigs with 4.23 pitches seen per plate appearance.
He's on a consecutive streak of reaching base via hit or walk. But right now, Salazar, he's looking at he's right now 26 pitch first inning and still looking for that third out.
Now the 2-1. Hit to center. Rajay racing back. Can't get there. Short hops the wall. Coming around third. Murphy's going to try to score all the way from first, and he will. And Jason Worth delivers a 2-out RBI double to make it 2-0 Washington.
Well, come out with some 2-out hitting right here. Worth his 20th double and his 44th RBI. So they put a crooked number on the board there, right down the middle, right down Broadway, and he took advantage of it. Hits it over the head of Davis. It short hops the wall. He gets it in, but with 2 outs, you're off and running on the crack of the bat. So Murphy scored easily. No throw coming in. So they've got 2 on the board. Salazar looking for the third out.
And that will bring up Anthony Rendon.
This is what hit the Indians when they were in Baltimore. Baltimore, for the first 2 games of that series, were able to put 3 runs on the board in the first inning.
Fouled right back. Rendon, a Silver Slugger winner 2 years ago. He's picked up a hit in 4 of his last 6 games. Good off-speed pitch from Salazar. It's quickly 0-2. Fastball really took off, and it has been a 30-pitch first inning for Danny Salazar.
Yeah, not the way you want to settle in and start a ball game out. Hopefully you can keep it right here at 2 runs.
Struck him out to end the inning. But Washington strikes first with a pair in inning number 1. Now the Indians are coming to bat when we come back. First inning for the Indians. We'll see if they can get it going with the bats now as the Indians send this starting lineup to work against left-hander Gio Gonzalez tonight. It's brought to you by Progressive. Rajai Davis, Jason Kipnis, Francisco Lindor. Then it's Mike Napoli, Carlos Santana, and Jose Ramirez. Juan Uribe, Abraham Almonte, and Roberto Perez.
And tonight's Sunday starting pitcher, Gio Gonzalez. He's won his last 2 starts. 2.31 ERA. Washington 8-11 in his starts this year. He's the same on the road as he is at home. Both 3 and 4 records at home and on the road. Left-handers only hit 198. Righties have had a lot more success at a 276 average. But when he gets runners in scoring position, a 384 average. So let's try and get some runners in scoring position early.
Rajai Davis batting .263 on the year. Takes a little bit outside. 1 ball, 1 strike, or 2 balls, no strikes. The Indians hopefully will get their offensive stroke going back here at home, because that's been the case all season long. They're averaging
just about 6, right?
Yeah, 5.74 runs a game at home. That's second most in the American League.
You're back at home, and you got the guy on the mound who has the best run support in the league with Salazar, and Gonzalez is a guy where, you know, 2 runs or less in 11 of his 19 starts this year.
Well, he walked Rajai on 4 pitches.
Let's set the defense for you behind Gonzalez. It looks like this. Rivera's in left, Turner in center, Harper over in right. Rendon at third, Espinosa at short, Murphy at second, Zimmerman back in the lineup at first, Ramos doing the catching. These guys, Rajai Davis and Gonzalez, were teammates out in Oakland. But it's been a while since the Indians have faced him.
Rajai bluffed to move towards second, but did not go, and Kipnis takes a strike. Kip taking a look. It's outside. 1-1. Lobs a toss over. Nothing doing.
Again, you have the first baseman, Zimmerman, Davis, and the umpire, Jeff Kellogg, looking into that sun. But you can see now it's starting to creep. We're getting the end of July, getting into August. And
Kipnis swats one deep center. Turner racing back on the track, can't get there, and it's going to hop the fence for a ground rule double.
Bad break.
Rajai must stop at third, but the Indians are off and running here in the bottom of the first with runners at second and third and nobody out.
Bad break, but a good at bat by Jason Kipnis. He smoked that ball. That'll be Kip's 20th double. Now that sets the table, second and third, nobody out. Turner gave it a run for his money. He tried to catch up to it, but couldn't get there. You see it bounces onto that track. If it would have hit the fence and bounced high off of that, Davis would have scored easily. But they have the inning set up now.
And Francisco Lindor is coming to the plate. Jason Kipnis has hit in 9 straight. And a meeting at the mound now between Wilson Ramos and Gio Gonzalez. Well, this is a good matchup, you would think, for the Indians, because you've got Francisco Lindor at the plate, who has batted over 300 against lefties this year, and at home has the 3rd best batting average in the American League at .348. Takes a ball in the dirt. It gets by Ramos coming home. Davis still beats the play to the dish.
How about
and the
that?
Indians are on the board with the tying run moving to third.
I don't know if they were crossed up there. He went out and talked to him before that pitch.
Rick, I thought maybe Davis was going to get picked off coming home because the ball ricocheted back so quickly.
No, but Ramos didn't realize he was coming. He got crossed up. He got a fastball. He was looking for the slider. He just left the mound. Now watch, Ramos has it, but I don't think Gonzalez ever told him he was coming. He scored easily because Ramos just caught the ball. And Kipnis advances, so there you go. 2-1. Don't even have to put a ball in play, and you take it. It may be a pass ball, but that's the pitcher's mistake right there.
What did they score it officially? Well, they haven't. They gave him a pass ball.
Yeah, it's a pass ball. Although, I mean, he gets.
Lindor bloops one toward right center. Backing up Murphy makes the catch. And Kipnis has to hold. One away. Our great clip of the game comes from Sunday's contest in Baltimore when Mike Napoli delivered a clutch base hit, driving home Jason Kipnis. That tied the game at 3 in the 8th inning, but unfortunately Baltimore would win it in the 9th. Still, Napoli is 2 RBI shy of having driven in 70 on the year. He's at 68. It takes low ball 1. It was otherwise a rough series for Mike in Baltimore. That was his only hit against Oriole pitching.
Yeah, but he likes hitting here.
Big curveball misses. He's batted .292 at home this year, and I wonder if Gonzalez will face him in maybe the same fashion that the Indians went after Murphy, just kind of maybe picking your spots.
Well, he's going to crowd him. He's not going to give him a swinging room, and if he doesn't make the perfect pitch and he ends up walking, he may not be upset, but then he's got to come right back and make his pitches to Santana.
And he walked him on 4 straight.
Didn't give him any swinging room. Tried to, you know, stay inside and crowd him. Napoli was patient. Second walk already by Gonzalez. The leadoff walk by Salazar came around to score, and the leadoff walk by Gonzalez came around to score.
He's only thrown 3 strikes in the inning, and one of them almost left the yard off the bat of Jason Kipnis. Well, you've got another patient hitter coming up here in Carlos Santana. Although sometimes, as we have seen in RBI situations, he's not nearly as patient. Down low.
Well, right now you have to be patient because he's struggling to throw strikes. He walked the leadoff man 4 straight pitches, and he's struggled.
And 4 straight to Napoli. Back out of play. And it's a 1-on-1. Santana has bounced between the leadoff spot and the 5-hole primarily this year. This is his 37th start of the season in the 5 spot. He's made 50 starts as a leadoff hitter. Upstairs, 2-1. Carlos, in addition to those 2 spots where he's batted primarily, he has also made 6 starts as the cleanup hitter, 1 in the 6th hole. That's low, and a good patient approach here for Santana, but can he maintain that patient approach now that he's gotten to 3-1?
Well, what you do, you keyhole him. You just look for a ball in your zone that you know you're going to hit. you figure out what you want to do. If you want to stay on the baseball, drive it to right center. They're playing them over in left center and center field at least.
3-1 hit foul at the third baseline. Jason Kipnis in foul territory, had to scramble to get out of the way. The scoreboard shows 80 degrees on an absolutely perfect evening in downtown Cleveland.
Yeah.
Really no breeze
Beautiful
at all.
day today.
Yeah.
It really was. You know, the last couple of series we had, very hot and humid in Kansas City and in Baltimore.
The lower deck, the outfield seats seem to be completely packed tonight. Here's the 3-2. And Santana, high fly ball, left center field.
That'll get it done.
Tagging is Kipnis. Revere making the catch. He'll throw towards second base, and the Indians have come right back and tied the game.
Yeah, well done.
Santana's 55th run batted in on the year. And with 2 down, Napoli at first, Jose Ramirez will be the batter.
You know, the Indians lead the American League in sacrifice flies. That's their 36th as a team. So that's why I say that's a free at bat. If you put the ball in play, you hit it deep enough, you had good speed on third. Now we have a tie game. So they answer the 2-run top half.
Jose Ramirez drives one deep right center on the move. Turner makes the catch right in front of the Indians bullpen, and if not for his great speed, that might have been extra bases. So we've played an inning. Washington 2, Cleveland answers with 2. Inning. Bottom third of the Nationals order due up here. Ryan Zimmerman just off the DL will lead it off. And takes a strike. And a ribcage strain that had him sidelined. He missed 13 games. Played 3 rehab games at Single A last week to get himself ready to go. Foul right back to even the count. Zimmerman was Washington's first ever draft pick. Over a decade ago, back in 05.
Well, he's put up some nice years, and the veteran, they need him in that lineup. He protects a lot of people.
Broke his bat.
Wow.
And Uribe Low throw, nicely dug out by Napoli. I don't know what happened to Uribe on that throw, but Knapp did a nice job to hang with it. Where did the barrel ended up? Almost took out Terry Francona.
It did. It got right near Francona. The two bat boys over there in the corner, and Millsy that are right there. That went flying in. Nice pick by Napoli.
Let's go down to Andre.
Danny Salazar is dealing with a little bit of, I don't want to say the flu, but his voice is very hoarse. Couldn't talk yesterday. Picked up something in Baltimore. He said he was weak yesterday, but he slept most of today. He says he's fine, but after that long first inning, I'm sure they're watching him very closely because he's been dealing with something, some kind of bug over the last 2 days.
Seemed like everybody had something in Baltimore, especially on the Orioles side of things. Well, we're just dealing with
they
it.
did.
Now the 0-1 downstairs.
Sometimes when you don't feel so good or so hot, you don't try and do as much, and sometimes less is better.
Swung out and missed. It's 1-2.
But in that first inning, he struggled.
Foul right back. Danny Espinosa has just stepped in and done a fantastic job for the Nationals. You think about he's hit 18 home runs this year.
Yeah. They've got a set lineup, man. Pretty good numbers up and down that lineup.
And this guy, he reminds me a little bit. I don't want to compare the players, but the situation. Back when Asdrubal Cabrera came up, he was a second baseman, moved to short. This guy can play either one of those positions as well.
Yeah, well, then they went and signed Murphy.
Swung out and missed. Nice pitch by Salazar. Had him way out in front. His third strikeout, and there are 2 down.
Well, change up. There you'll see it. It's a good one. It's been tough on lefties. That was in a very good location. They see it coming, and you got to get it started. And once you get it started, you can't stop it.
Now Ben Revere. It's funny, the first time I saw Ben Revere with the Minnesota Twins, the guy that initially came to my mind was Jock Jones, left-handed hitter, similar batting stance, and then you told me that before the game today, Jock Jones is the assistant hitting coach.
Yes, he is.
For the Nationals.
He sure is. Revere's a guy that's been leading off for him, but you can see in his career against the Indians he's been successful.
He smoked that ball right into the glove of Napoli, and the inning is over. Well, Danny Salazar bounces back, sets him down 1-2-3. We're tied at 2, middle of the second. 2-2. And here on the bottom of the second, Juan Uribe will lead it off. And he takes a strike. Gio Gonzalez had a tough time throwing strikes in the first inning. That's only the 8th strike out of 21 pitches that he has thrown. But he gets ahead of Uribe with 2 quick ones. First inning sometimes can be an adventure for a starting pitcher.
Well, and both pitchers did have a little bit of an adventure in the first, walking the leadoff man, and both came around to score.
You know, and if you look at it independently, each half inning independently, you would say, well, they each gave up 2 runs. But because of the fact that the Nationals batted first, for Danny Salazar, it's kind of like, he feels probably better than Gio Gonzalez does, because Gio went out there and had a 2-0 lead and gave it up. Even though in the grand scheme of things, it shouldn't be that way.
You still have to
it
establish yourself out there. He was going out there for the first time, a place where he's been successful on this mound here. He's 5-0 in 7 starts against the Indians in his career. So, you should have some good mojo coming into this ball game, you would think.
Does it matter, though, if you haven't faced a team in a while?
No, you feel good. You've pitched well against them in the past. I know the names are different, numbers are different on the uniforms, but you've got good vibes going in that mind. Hey, I'm 5-0 against these guys. You should feel a little better about yourself. It's better than coming in 0-5.
That's true. Well, he challenged him with a good fastball, well located, gets his first strikeout, 1 down. Injury report brought to you by the attorneys at Elk & Elk. These are 2 of the healthier teams. How about the Astros?
Yeah, you talk about staying healthy. That's great for them. Well, they're on a roll, boy. They're a hot team down deep in the heart of Texas.
And obviously a big chunk of that for the Indians is Michael Brantley, who has played just a handful of games earlier this year. And while on the surface it may have appeared a week or so ago that all hope was lost, or any chances that we might see Brantley again this year, he popped up in the clubhouse today and then met with the reporters, and if anything, I'd say just the opposite may be true. He was very positive, very upbeat. He received a little procedure last week, and he said shoulder feels great. He said he's focused right now on the recovery process. In other words, how do I feel the next day? And he said if that continues to go well, then he said I'm still confident that I will be back and help this club at some point this year. Almonte is swinging him as what he said was, I don't want to come back and not be able to play. I don't want to come back at 50 or 75%, because he said then I'm not helping the team.
Right.
He's come back and be able to
missed this
play.
much time. You might as well come back. If you're going to come back what you feel is 100%.
The 2-2. Terry Francona probably said it best, Rick. He said, look, if we can get Michael back and he can play 2 out of every 3 days, that's better than 0 out of every 3 days.
Right.
So they're still holding out hope that he may make it back this year. Almonte fouls it off to the right. And Terry said, look, if we were sitting here in late August, it might be different, because then there's nowhere to go in rehab in September. You got to have some place to be able to go in rehab. Right. So right now the timing is pretty good. Strike 3 called. Almonte is out, 2 down.
Well, he just goes inside on him. Almonte looking away, and it locked him up. Pretty good pitch right there. He thought he had ball 4, but no, sir. Hit the inside part of the plate.
Now to bring up Roberto Perez. Picked up his first hit of the year in Baltimore on Sunday. And the Indians go 1-2-3. After 2 innings of play, we are tied at 2. Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to stay tuned later in the game for Miller Time. It's brought to you by Miller Lite. Third inning, Trey Turner will lead it off for the Nationals. Drew a walk his first time up, and that was bad because he promptly stole second and came around to score the first run of the game.
Yeah, he stole it on the very first pitch after he was walked, so he wasted no time.
This is headed our way. It was close. We almost had our first. Turner just turned 23 years old. A little less than a month ago. Danny pulled the string on him with that great changeup, and it's 1-2. Last year, Turner played at 4 different stops in the Nationals organization. Started in San Antonio, went to Harrisburg, Syracuse, and eventually to the big league club. Stole 31 bases on the year.
Well, a guy, you know, when you can run like that, if you get up on the top of that lineup like he is here, you know, Dusty feels obviously he can put the ball in play. He has a good eye. He walked his first time up, and when you can run, if you get out in front of the hitters that they have behind you here, you're in good shape. That's the key. You got to keep the guys off base when you're facing Harper, Murphy, if you can. A lot like we talk about when we face the Tigers, Cabrera, Martinez. Those guys do the damage.
Swung on and missed. Good pitch. Danny Salazar got him to go fish for one in the dirt. And that's the 4th strikeout.
Well, we know Danny, his changeup is his favorite pitch. And there's one right there in that at bat. Very good. But look at, it's almost like a splitter. And you can see the slow motion and the way that speed goes. That was on a 2-1 pitch. It comes back again, and I mean it's a field pitch, and when hitters have never faced you, you can certainly lock them up. But you can't forget that you have 95 in your bag. That's what sets everything else up.
Yeah.
He fell in love with his changeup a couple of times, and you can do that when you see guys swinging and missing all the time, but the fastball sets it up. And locating that heater too.
The 2-0.
You know, let's not forget when Danny first came up, he threw nothing but fastballs. You know, he was throwing 100 pitches in 5 innings because they were fouling off the high fastball and making them work. Well, that change has developed. And now you can fall in love with that too. There you have it, a 3-0 changeup. And I know it's Harper. You didn't want to give in that fastball, but he took it. Smart move when you haven't faced a guy before.
He clobbers this one to deep right. And what a catch by Almonte. Leaping on the warning track to pull it down. Bryce Harper has scorched 2 balls tonight. He's got nothing to show for it.
Well, he tried to throw that 3-1 changeup, and I'll tell you what, he hit it hard. This is our AT&T high-speed replay. A nice job by Almonte running this one down on the dead run. First time up, Harper went to straightaway center. He's got about 700 feet of outs in his first 2 at-bats.
Well, 2 down now for Daniel Murphy. Pulls one to right. A little easier play this time. Almonte squeezes it. And the Nationals go in order. Salazar is sent down 7 straight.
MLB.com @bat app. You can stay connected all season with radio broadcasts, video highlights, stats, news, and more. Download MLB.com @bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your smartphone and tablet.
Top of the order for Cleveland. Rajai Davis, who walked and scored for the Indians to lead it off. So both leadoff hitters walked to start tonight, and both came around to score. Smoke, but foul. Look out. Nice job, young lady. Rajai, another Indians player who has enjoyed playing at home. He has hit .295 at Progressive Field this year compared to .240 on the road. Though interestingly enough, 8 of his 9 homers have been on the road. So he hits for power on the road, hits for average at home.
Nothing wrong with that. Nice blend.
Got in on him, popped him up. Harper makes the catch, 1 away. The district ticket presented by Sports Time Ohio includes your first drink. It's only $13, so get your friends, come on down. You can hang out in the corner or the new drink rails on the left. District tickets are only available online at Indians.com/district ticket. Great spot. It's packed tonight on both sides, in the right field corner and over and left field just in front of the home run porch. In fact, as I pointed out earlier, the lower bowl appears to be completely sold out. Obviously have folks in the upper deck too. Fouled out of play. Day game tomorrow. Brief 2-game set between it, Cleveland and Washington. Tribe will head to our nation's capital to play a pair there in early August, but it's just a 2-gamer. Off day Thursday, and then we get is it Oakland?
Oakland comes to town
the weekend
for the weekend,
and then Minnesota for 4.
Yes, we got a 2-3-4 gamer here.
The 1-2. Saturday, expecting a big crowd. It's going to be near a sellout for the Hall of Fame induction ceremonies. Tickets still available for the remaining games on the homestand, but we understand looks like Friday will be close to a sellout. So make your plans to come on down and be part of this big homestand. First place Indians taking on Washington, Oakland, and Minnesota. The 2-2. Curveball, and he pulls it foul.
Yeah, you mentioned we have a 2-game with these guys. That'll be the only off day for the Indians in August, is when we are on the road. We go from New York to Washington, because the only other off day that was scheduled, it's a makeup here against the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, that's right. The 2-2, and a swing and a miss on a great breaking ball from Gonzalez. When he gets ahead of a hitter, that's the pitch that can be a difference maker for Gonzalez. You saw Kip foul some off, and
he slowed it down even more and put more tilt to it. He knew it. Look at him. He's saying, no way. But you see right there, that's a good look at it. That's a pitch you're not going to swing at. If you don't have 2 strikes, you're just going to probably spit on it if you can. You know, Washington, they lead the National League as a staff in ERA. The Indians, they lead the American League. So you're dealing with 2 good pitchers. We're going to see a nice matchup tomorrow at high noon. Carrasco, Strasburg.
Francisco Lindor popped up his first time to the plate. went upstairs and got on top of that thing and tomahawked it into right field. Harper, though, did a nice job of staying with it.
Boy, did he ever.
And he holds him to a long 2-out single.
Yeah, he cut it off, boy. He saved at least an extra base. Kept Lindor from scoring position. That's good hustle. But boy, what a swing this was. Watch him get on top and tomahawk. That pitch was nowhere even. That looked like a hit and run swing right there.
Sure did.
You know, where he's swinging because you have to. The guy was running on base, but he kept it in play. That's amazing. It was a great job to get a hit and even hit that ball and put it into play, and a good job to cut it off by Harper and hold him to a single.
Gives Napoli a chance to bat. We're in the third. 2-2 ball game.
Napoli walked on 4 straight. Back in the first, he tried to jam him with everything, staying inside, not give him any swinging room whatsoever. And that may be the philosophy tonight for this guy. You know, they know he hits well in this ballpark. He leads his team in homers and RBIs. There's a nice pitch away. You get them looking in because you pound them, and then when they finally look in, then you can squeak one away. This is excellent location here. Down in the way.
Pulled in the hole, and Napoli's got a base hit. Lindor will stop at second. That's very similar to that hit he had in Baltimore.
Yes, it was. Well, he made an excellent 2-0 pitch. And now this one, he's going to get some plate, and Napoli's going to let him know. You got too much of the plate that time. You see where he couldn't go out there, and he had to reach out. Please let me catch that ball. But he hit it on the ground. He kept it in the ballpark. It's only a single, so now it's back-to-back singles. 3 hits for the Indians. Give Santana a chance.
Carlos Santana with 2 outs, 2 aboard. Takes low, ball 1. Santana having his best month of the season by far. Carlos hit .240 in April, .217 in May, .255 in June. He's hitting .307 in the month of July. Belted 5 homers. He's driven in a dozen.
Well, again, when you bring in your middle infielders, you're looking at what sign they're going to use with a man on second base, thinking, okay, maybe they can be relaying signs. I don't think is the case, but when you have a veteran, Dusty Baker, his staff, he's got a veteran coaching staff. But they did the same thing in the first and crossed him up.
You know what? He crossed him up again.
How about that's the second time? Now, go figure.
I thought maybe that's why they were coming in to talk, to make sure it didn't happen again.
Look at now. Murphy goes over to the shortstop. Look at, he crossed him up. That's unbelievable that major leaguers can do that. I can see once, but twice.
Yeah, he was looking for a fastball there. And
wow. Here's one that, look at, he's looking for the breaking ball and gets a fastball. You know, guess my pitch. I guess that's a new game.
I don't want to play that game.
Not if you're the catcher, you don't.
Santana broke his bat, and that's going to be a foul ball. Not by much, but it was just foul up the third baseline. The barrel ended up near shortstop.
Well, Rendon didn't know any better, so he just went ahead with it. He wasn't sure. And you don't hesitate. You finish like it's a fair ball. And then the worst that can happen is what happened. They call it a foul ball. It was awfully close, though. Look at that, ball's fair right up until the last second.
Yeah.
I mean, a ball width off the bag. And he says, I'm throwing it to first anyway. So it's only a strike.
Santana, though, down on the count now. third. Rendon goes to second for the inning-ending force. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left. We've played 3. We're tied at 2. On 59 pitches through the first 3 innings. Each pitcher walked the leadoff man. Each pitcher gave up 2 runs in the first and nothing since.
All right, so that's what they did. They canceled that first inning and said we start over again.
That's right. Danny set down 7 straight. And he'll face Wilson Ramos, who he just overpowered his first at bat with fastballs. Ramos was waiting for it this time. And he got the barrel head out and connected for a lead-off double. Isn't that something? You may fool a hitter once.
Well, that's
but he's a little more geared up that second time around.
They know. They see you get in that box. Once you face a guy, you can pick up his release point. You see what that ball does. That was just right down the middle, and that was not a good Danny Salazar fastball. That was at 92. So he took advantage of it, and there's a difference. Plug the gap in right center field. That's 18 doubles now for Ramos, so they get the leadoff double.
Jason Worth, he doubled the center, driving in a run in the first inning. Takes low ball 1. Worth is a guy, I guess you could say he's a bit of a free spirit. He's a guy that if you have him on the postgame interview show and it's live, you better have somebody on standby at the dump switch. He does not have a filter. Takes a strike.
I was wondering, Matty, if you wanted me to talk to Jason Worth today or when we get to Washington and leave him open and see where it goes.
Well, I don't know. we may all be out of a job.
No, on your segment, please.
Oh, that's a great teammate that you are up there.
Thank you.
You're brilliant.
Well, I think that's the thing about Worth. He maybe from the outside he may seem a little bit crazy, but I think on the inside the guys seem to love him as a teammate. He's been around the Toronto, the Dodgers, the Phillies, and now
he signed a big deal
6th
with
year with Washington.
Yeah, he signed a big deal with them coming out of Philadelphia.
Remember Eric Wedge used to have a phrase about guys like Jason Worth. He's a baseball player, and I think that really fits Worth. He does everything well. Good outfielder, runs the bases. He's kind of got a good feel for everything you need to do to be a complete player.
Well, they ended up signing him when they had a young team, and he was helping them lead the way. Time to send out some birthday wishes. Gloria Mae Johnson, big Indians fan, turning 92 on the 18th. Of course, we weren't home. Resides in Brunswick. Happy birthday to you. And Babe Fishenko of Youngstown, 86 years old. Happy birthday to you.
Well, Werth's one of those guys that, maybe at this stage in his career, he's not maybe as much a power threat as he was a few years ago when he was, belting anywhere between 25 and 35 home runs a year. But he's still got the wily old veteran in him. And I think as any player would tell you, he probably would say, I'm a smarter player now too.
Well, you have to be. The longer you play, sometimes you have to do it with brains. You're not as quick, as strong as you are when you first come up. That's what makes the game so good.
Well, he's worked the count in both at bats. The 2-2. Oh man, strike 3 called. He got him with a pitch. I think that's his first curveball we've seen tonight.
Well, yeah,
he locked him up with it.
Love to see him break that out. He had some success with that, either curveball or slider when he was in Kansas City, whether it be getting ahead for strike 1 with some of those aggressive fastball hitters. But locks Werth up right there and doesn't allow him to move the runner.
He's saying, wait, where's that been? I haven't seen that yet tonight.
Right. Well,
good time to break it out. Anthony Rendon struck out his first time up. Beats it into the ground. Salazar has the electric fastball, but that breaking ball was inconsistent maybe for him, and it was the development of that changeup that has been a huge difference maker, and there it was right there. My goodness, that's a pitch that has enabled him to separate himself from a starter with promise to an elite starter.
Yeah, there it is. It just goes straight down. It's when it starts low, as a hitter, you have to take it. But when you don't see him enough, and they don't really have a good book on him, you get after it.
There it is again. I was asking Jensen about it because when you look at it, we show that slow-mo grip. It almost looks like a split.
Yeah.
But it doesn't react like the splitters that I'm thinking back that I remember seeing. So I asked him, is it more like a forkball? And he said the grip isn't forkball, but he said it's his arm speed. That's where the pitch is a difference. He throws it with such great arm speed that it reacts more like a forkball. But it's not that forkball grip necessarily. Almonte, no.
That's what he and Callaway got together when he says, you've got to have the same arm speed with your fastball or with your changeup as you do your fastball. You can't be afraid to throw that as hard as you can. That's what makes it so effective. So now he went out there and started to get a feel for it, and he doesn't let up on it like he used to. So, I mean, that's one of the tougher pitches to hit in baseball, changeups. And I'll tell you, it doesn't put a lot on your arm either, the changeup. It's not like a breaking ball, that hard slider. And the curveball is a little easier than the slider is.
Here's the 0-2. That slider was hung, and that ball was crushed, and it is gone. So Anthony Rendon with a 2-run homer makes it 4-2 Washington.
Well, we'll see the location of this pitch, and you can see where the location is, why he hit it out of there. And it's a changeup, but when you leave it there, right down the middle, that's the problem with it. When you don't get it down where you want it, that makes it a very hittable pitch, especially if you're throwing a lot and they're seeing the baseball. where he hits it into the seats. So they take the lead 4-2. Rendon his 12th homer, his 37th, 38th home run.
I think you meant to say 37th, 38th run batted in.
I'm sorry. Yes.
Otherwise,
RBI.
he's having one whale of a season.
Yeah, you go from no kid, you go from 11 to 37 and 38 with one swing.
Broke his bat, slowly chopped to Lindor. 2 down. Well, that's what this Washington team does, though. They hit a lot of home runs. As I mentioned earlier, they have 8 players in their starting lineup who are in double figures with home runs. Now, they don't have anybody that's running away with the league lead. They don't have a Mark Trumbo or a Todd Frazier.
That's
but
fine.
Everybody hits their fair share.
They're second in the league in home runs. They're 4th in walks, so they get on base. And they don't strike out a lot. They're the second toughest team to strike out. Them and the Marlins over in the National League. So, they make you work. They don't give in at bats, and it's a solid lineup.
Well, the sabermetricians don't care about the strikeouts, but boy, the fact that they walk a lot and hit home runs, that's something to fall in love with. And as Terry Francona said before the game today, they, in his estimation, are a team built for October because they've got power, they've got speed, they've got pitching, starting pitching, and a good bullpen.
Yeah. You're right. Mike Rizzo, the GM of that club, has done a nice job.
Upstairs. Out of play. Danny Salazar had retired 7 in a row before the leadoff double by Ramos here in the 4th. So once again, you see that pitch count starting to inflate, almost at 80 here in the 4th inning. And he walks the number 8 hitter, Danny Espinosa. Second walk issue.
Well, you can enjoy Dollar Dogs post-game fireworks presented by Blaster Corporation. That'll take place Friday. The Indians will host the A's, plus Budweiser cans, $2 in the right field district from 5 to 7. Just go to Indians.com to get your tickets.
Ben Revere. He hit a line drive right into the glove of Mike Napoli at first in the 2nd inning. Espinosa has 7 steals. He's only been caught once. Just inside, 1-0.
Tough first and a tough 4th.
They scored 2 in each. And his stroke toward left, caught by Ramirez. But Anthony Rendon gets a hanging changeup and belts it to the bleachers. 4-2 Washington. Astros home field advantage. And the Indians with the 4th best home mark in the American League. They have played the fewest number of home games, but they have more remaining than anybody in the big leagues.
Well, like you say, we always know when you start the season you're going to have 81 home and 81 on the road. So it doesn't matter when they come, you're going to get them. Take advantage of them when you do. They played very well on the road, and that stat that Andre used at the beginning of the game where they picked up ground when they've been on the road for so long, that's pretty impressive.
Well, I kind of have to agree with Terry on this one, because we, meaning you and I and those of us who cover the game, we probably make more of the home road record than needs to be, just because it's something to talk about, it's interesting to look at. But Terry said, look, if you play well, it doesn't matter where you play. You know, if you pitch well, you swing the bats well, you play good defensively, you can win at home, you can win on the road.
Pitching travels very well.
But he said the one thing that he likes most about playing at home is that for him, he goes, I think it sets up your bullpen better. You know you're going to bat last, and you can just sort of set up your bullpen a little better than when you're on the road and it's a close game late. You don't know how it's going to necessarily play out. It's harder to stack your bullpen the way you want to.
He would know.
So that's the one advantage he likes to playing at home. But he said, hey, at the end of the day, you know, if you don't pitch well and hit and play good defense, it doesn't matter where you're playing.
But for the most part, and this has been around for a long time in baseball. If you can play 500 on the road and you take advantage of your home schedule, where you should play a lot better.
Yeah, for whatever reason,
well.
Last year the Indians didn't play well at home until late in the year.
I know, they played better on the road.
Swinging a foul right back. Boy, Uribe was close to it, but that's sort of where he's been for the last several weeks. Just can't seem to get going. He's 5 for 40 in the month of July. And I told you coming into tonight that Bryce Harper was 5 for his last 45. So these two guys could commiserate on what it's like to be in a nosedive right now. Rip foul.
Well, and when you're swinging the bat well, that ball stays fair, goes over the bag for a double. When you're in a little slump like you're going through right now, watch, it's just foul. Oh, that's how baseball goes. The baseball gods. Sometimes they're with you, sometimes they're not.
The 0-2. I don't know that he would admit it, and I don't know that it is a big deal, because I know it's only his 200th career home run that he's sitting on, but it's still a milestone. And I wonder if maybe he hasn't been pressing, thinking about getting to that milestone number.
I could believe it. I could buy it. You know, subconsciously, you're trying to hit everything out.
Caught by Harper. One away. Stat of the game brought to you by Buick. Talking about two of the very best staffs, and especially in terms of starting staffs in baseball. You look at the Nationals. Now, most National League teams are going to have better ERAs just because they've got fewer hitters to face in a lineup on a regular basis. But Washington's starting staff, their starting rotation, they lead Major League Baseball in strikeouts, and they're second in ERA. And the Indians, of course, their starting rotation has the best ERA in the American League. So these two starting staffs do a phenomenal job. Right now, the Nationals have the lead on the 2-run homer by Anthony Rendon on that hanging changeup from Danny Salazar. But hey, the Indians answered when Washington scored in the first. We'll see if they can come back and do it again here in the fourth. Chop to short. Espinosa, they'll get one there. And there are two down. Well, Abraham Almonte could get in on that conversation with Uribe and Bryce Harper. He's 4 for 27. But that's his first 27 at-bats of the year since coming off the suspension list. And then there's Roberto Perez, who's 1 for 20. And he hit a line drive right at Daniel Murphy, the second baseman, his first time up.
Well, Gonzalez has picked his pace up a little bit that first time through the lineup. Between 0-2 and 1-2 counts, he had 1 the first time through. Second time, he has had 7 now. So
that first time through the lineup, I'm not sure he threw 10 strikes.
Well, you're right. he had a tough time.
But since then, a ton of strikes.
No, I'm not so sure that Salazar's coming back because I see their bullpen up and throwing and getting loose, the Indians.
Well, Andre reported to us earlier that Salazar wasn't exactly feeling at his tip-top best, dealing with perhaps effects of the flu bug. And he has made, what, around 80 pitches in 4 innings. 1-1. High pop, right field. Harper is there. Indians get a leadoff single, but don't do anything with it. And after 4, it's 4-2 Washington. Is brought to you by Levin Furniture. For the best deals on furniture and mattresses, shop Levin's. By your Northern Ohio Honda dealers. And by the Cleveland Clinic. Access anytime, anywhere. 4-2, Washington leads at top of the order. Danny Salazar back out to start the 5th inning. And the pitch is in the dirt, ball 1. Bullpen is hot for the Indians. But Salazar trying to push through here in the 5th inning. And it's 2-0. Two-1 to count. Detroit jumped out to a 4-0 lead at Fenway over the Red Sox. Boston has come back to equal that game at 4 apiece.
Oh, you knew it wouldn't take them long.
Nice stop by Kipnis. He has time to set and throw, but he pulled him off the bag, and he's beside himself.
Yeah, just a routine play there. And Turner gets down the line. We told you that. Now, I don't know if he looked and, he had plenty of time to get him. He just throws to the side, draws and pulls Napoli off. So a mistake there. That'll go as an area. Had plenty of time, went sidearm and pulled them off. So Salazar coming out. He went out, one hitter, and Tito's taking him out.
So we got a timeout. The Cleveland Clinic call to the bullpen has been made. Danny Salazar exits, 1 batter into the 5th, down 4-2. making his 15th appearance on the year. He's got a pair of left-handed hitters due up, Harper then Murphy. Danny Salazar out after facing one batter here in the 5th inning. And let's go down to Andres.
You know, when you look at stolen bases for the Nationals, not a big stat for them last season. They only had 52 on the season. Today, they have 53. And when you ask them why, they look directly at their first base coach, Davey Lopes. He's brought an aggressive approach and has all these guys on this team stealing bases at a pace that they did not last year. Something they wanted to change when they changed managers this offseason.
Well, you look at Davey Lopes. He was a great base stealer, and anywhere he's gone, he can help you out as far as stealing the bases. I'm sure he reads pitchers. He knows the game, a great veteran coach, so that doesn't surprise me whatsoever.
Davey Lopes stole 77 bases in 1975. That's more than probably a lot of teams stole last year. Bryce Harper 0 for 2 in the ball game.
They scored that Turner ball a hit.
Well, they're not watching the game then.
It's unbelievable. And then Murphy's ball in the 1st inning, they scored an error. I didn't know. Did you know that?
What?
Yeah, they gave Uribe an error on Murphy's ball. We're watching a different game. We might be too high up.
I could say something, but I won't.
Please don't. We got to stay home for 10 days.
Here's Bryce Harper now, awaiting a pitch from Kyle Crockett, who understandably is concerned about the runner at first, Trey Turner, and misses inside ball 1. Throw to first keeps Turner close. And that's inside 2-0. I don't, and I mean this sincerely, I don't envy how difficult it is for a situational lefty to come in and have to literally just throw strikes. You don't have any margin for error in these situations. But that, unfortunately, that is the job. That's what you got to be able to do. And it's 3-0 to Harper. The 3-0 pitch in there for a strike. I thought it was the one interesting thing that Harper said on the story that I read today, Rick, in the Washington Post, was what an influential person Matt Williams was for him personally, because he said he sort of kept the people away from me when I wasn't going well, and he said he never came to me and talked to me. I would always go to him and say, hey man, what do you think's going on? I'm struggling, and he would say, what do you think is going wrong? And he said I'd end up answering the question for myself and sort of figuring it out. But he said that relationship that those two had was, I think, very important for him.
Right.
Unfortunately, didn't work for the rest of the team.
He was a great player and played a long time in the major leagues. But you know, when you're going bad, it doesn't matter if you're a great player or just an average player.
Double play ball maybe. Kipnis goes to second. There's one. But Lindor can't get it on to first in time. So Harper aboard on the fielder's choice. Just kind of slow developing play.
Yeah, it sure was.
That extra hop.
And then the long backhanded flip. That's not, you know, you're not going to be able to get it done. But getting back to when you're talking about Harper, you get more people when you're going wrong. Everybody wants to tell you what you're doing wrong.
Yeah.
And no matter how hard you don't listen, you still let some of it creep in.
That's exactly what he said. He said some of that stuff gets in and it stays
people
there.
Leave me alone. I don't want. You know what? Hitting is confidence. And this guy was the MVP last year. So now what are you trying to hit? 52 home runs instead of 42, and you're trying to drive in, 190 or 200. They're trying to improve.
Therein may lie part of the problem, because he says in the article, he said, I wasn't satisfied with what I did last year. And he was far and away the MVP. There wasn't a second place finish.
Nope.
So you can imagine if things don't go well, what he does to himself.
Yeah, he beats himself up. Well, you just expect more. But, I think he was off to a great start. The Cubs walked him 6 straight times in one game, and he didn't know what to do with himself. He wanted to do it, and every time Zimmerman had opportunities, I think he might have had 1 RBI in that game.
Maybe, yeah.
But, that they ended up doing that thing, and I was thinking, wow, this could set precedents where other teams do that. They're not going to let him hit him. But today he's in the #2 hole. You've got the league's leading hitter protecting him. I mean, that's a smart move, Dusty. I mean, I'm sure they thought about it and they didn't want to adjust or change that lineup.
16 times he's been intentional.
Yeah. Well,
this year. That doesn't count the number of times they've worked around him.
Go back a few years and think about Barry Bonds, how many times they intentionally walked him.
Well, that's true.
So how many times can you get that one pitch maybe in an at-bat? He's in a situation where you truly can't miss it. If you're going to, he's walked 75 times.
Meanwhile, Crockett again having a tough time throwing strikes. Oh, it scorched to Napoli. Inning over. Oh, Kyle Crockett is living right. He fell behind Harper, got him to bounce into a fielder's choice. He falls behind Murphy. He hits into an inning-ending double play. As we roll on here to the home half of the 5th inning, we'll see if the Indians can get the offense going against Gio Gonzalez. Good to see our buddy Greg Fry stopping by the booth here tonight. Greg does such a terrific job for us on Ohio High School Athletic Association, high school football, state playoffs, the championship games. Made the trip up from Columbus with his son, one of his buddies.
Nice trip today.
Yeah. Davis with a line drive, but right at Ben Revere, 1 down. It won't be long now, Greg. Training camp will be starting up. High school football will be back on the air before long. In-game recap brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Jason Worth with a first inning RBI double. Got the Nationals off and running. They scored 2. Tribe came right back and matched it with 2 in the bottom of the first. It stayed that way until the 4th, when with 1 out, Anthony Rendon hit a tie-breaking 2-run homer. And that's where we stand now in the 5th. And Jason Kipnis takes a strike. Kip doubled and scored in that first inning, struck out his last time up.
I don't think like that call there on the first pitch down and away. You know, he doesn't need the help, he's saying. Gonzalez was able to get him to chase that breaking ball because he was down in the count the last time.
Yeah, there's a strike called, and I mean Jason Kipnis is fit to be tied.
I know, that's right, 2 pitches right there that, you know, he feels that's not a strike. We'll see. It's going, it's running away. That's as a hitter, you certainly don't want that called, that's for sure, because what it does, now watch, he'll expand that zone again with the breaking ball. He can go inside, and that's for the next pitch. Keep him from looking out there.
Anytime I think as a hitter you see the catcher catch a ball and his glove is going away from the strike zone, you're saying to the umpire, wait a minute.
Well, you know, if you can't reach it, then you're not going to swing at it, so it can't be a strike. But you just feel that way as a hitter.
Fastball, and Kipnis smokes it to left, but Revere playing deep, able to make an easy catch. 2 down.
All right, fans will get the Tribe Ugly Christmas t-shirt. That'll be courtesy of Papa John's. Friday, Oakland in town, plus all fans, dollar dogs all night long. Post-game fireworks to follow. Just go to Indians.com and get your tickets.
You know, speaking of football, I saw my buddy John Telich before the ball game in the Indians clubhouse, and he was telling me the Browns open training camp here in another week or so.
That's unbelievable.
It's already here. Chopped up the middle, cut off by Espinosa, and he throws out Lindor, and the Indians go 1-2-3 on 8 pitches. We've played 5. It remains Washington 4, Cleveland 2. Greater coverage of baseball, and Adrian Beltre. Boy, is he coming off a ball game. 4 for 5, not 1 but 2 home runs.
Yeah, the walk-off.
That's not against Oakland.
Yeah, they were battling from behind all night long, and he certainly had a big part of it.
That's his first walk-off home run with his team trailing.
That's scary. You know what? He's a Hall of Famer in my eyes. He's been around for a long time, had a lot of good years. Not many third basemen on both sides of the ball as good as Adrian Beltre.
You know, I think everybody looks at where the Indians are at right now, and I'm sure there are some fans who are saying, well, they've struggled since the All-Star break. Is this sort of a trend that's going on the wrong way? Look, every team goes through this. Texas has gone through it, and it looked like there for a while they were going to run away with the NL West or the AL West, but you know, you're not going to play 600 baseball the entire season. You're going to have stretches where You cough up a few games, you don't play well.
Cubs are a good example. They're them too.
I think it's important for the Indians to obviously not let it linger. You know, if you have a bad stretch, you know, obviously getting swept in Baltimore was not what anybody had in mind when they went there. But you don't want that to turn into you lose 8 out of 10 or a long losing streak.
You never do. But you know, after their month of June, it's awfully tough to come back and have another month like that. It's just, you know, you get tired after a while. They've been on the road. They've been battling, and I'm not making excuses. I'm just telling you that's how the big league season goes, and every team goes through it. There's times when you get tired and you make mistakes and you see little things that, you know, they'll catch their second wind here and they'll get rolling. Tonight, Salazar, he coming off a good start against Kansas City, wasn't very good tonight. Danny didn't have his stuff.
This is how you can tell this is a catcher and not any other position player on the field, because he nailed that ball off of his inner leg. Not one soul moved from the dugout to come up and look at him.
Isn't that the truth? And I mean, he wears that pad down there, and he's not hobbling, goes down to the ground. They're tough.
And somebody probably made the mistake of going out once before, and he probably growled at them and said, "What are you doing out here?" Catchers don't like people to come out and check them out. If they can stand, they can play. The 3-2. In the air, pretty well hit the deep right. Back is Almonte. He's at the wall, and that carries out of here. Wilson Ramos with his 15th home run of the year makes it 5-2 Washington.
I'll tell you what, that was a pretty impressive at bat. He stayed on the ball and went the other way, and I mean hit it a ton. So their second home run tonight, a solo shot, that increases it to 5-2. And you see the ball carry, and he stayed inside the baseball. He knew it had a chance. Yes, he did. He sure did. So he is now 2 for 3, double, scored a pair of runs. And, you know, he hit it where he didn't have to run hard. He just jogged around the bases.
Well, up comes Jason Worth. He doubled on a run on the first, struck out in the fourth. Missed inside, ball 1. Chip misses outside. And that 3-0 pitch is hit to deep left. Back is Ramirez. And it's off the wall, hit right into the built-in out-of-town scoreboard portion of that left field wall. And Jason Worth has a double. Well, Washington teeing off here in this 6th inning. Nobody out. And up comes Anthony Rendon, and we'll go down to Andre Knott.
You guys were talking about the intimidation factor of Jason Worth. Well, let me take you back to 2000 when he was in Double-A playing against Akron, and Mike Sarbaugh was the manager of Akron. He had a home run and against Joey Roa. You guys remember that name?
Yeah.
It's coming around second base, and they were woofing back and forth because they had some issues with each other in single-A the year before. Basically, Worth hit third base and never hit home plate because an all-out brawl happened. I brought this up to Sarby 2 innings ago, and he looked at me and goes, "How in the world did you find out that story?" It's true. Worth never made it home, and they've never gotten along since.
How did you find out that story?
I got sources. Come on. I can't give away my sources.
Come on.
I'll tell you.
I'll give you $1.
Just $1, huh?
Yeah.
You got to give me more than that.
I'm going to find out.
Well, there was a video that went viral the other day of an independent league game where a pitcher had a bad inning, and while the next inning was underway, like right about now as the pitcher's on the mound, he darted from his dugout over across to the other dugout, and a big old brawl ensued. So those things happen. Sometimes you lose your cool and you don't make good decisions.
So then he didn't get credited with a home run then?
No.
Never touched home plate.
No.
So it was only a triple. Swung out and missed.
That's just like the Harvey Haddix game against Milwaukee. Wasn't it Joe Adcock? I think he actually hit a home run, but he passed somebody on the bases, so he was only credited with a double. When Harvey Haddix pitched the 12 perfect innings and lost it in the 13th or whatever it was.
Boy, that goes back a ways.
That's a little
nugget.
Little nugget, yeah. But what? The things that pop into my head. Couldn't remember the periodic elements, but or algebra. Anthony Rendon, he had a big 2-run homer in that 4th inning.
Washington tonight, 6 hits, 5 of them have been extra base hits, 3 doubles, 2 homers. They've made the most of them.
Just missed with an off-speed pitch. And now it's 2-2. Washington with 2 in the 1st, 2 in the 4th, and then another home run solo shot here in the 6th to extend their lead, and then Worth followed with a double off the end of the bat. A lot of times you'll see a hitter do that, and a piece of that cupped end will go flying off. But that time Rendon's bat stayed in one piece. Jam job. Worth chased it back to the bag. He'll still get to 3rd, but he won't be able to score. And Manship is yet to retire a batter.
Well, as a base runner, you know, line drive, you don't want to get double off. There's nobody out, so you read it well, you go back. That's not a bad job of reading that baseball, but it went as a base hit. It wasn't hit all that hard, but he wasn't going to get doubled off, so you move up a base. And what are you going to do? So Manship, boy, his night is short and a tough night. Yeah, not sweet is right.
So another pitching change coming here in the 6th. Washington with 2 on and nobody out, up 5-2. Chris Antonetti on Tuesday, August 16th, right here at Progressive Field for the Positive Coaching Alliance breakfast. Fans will get a behind-the-scenes perspective about the player development program. Tickets available by visiting coach.org/chapters/Cleveland. They do a nice job. I was a part of that event a couple of years ago.
I remember you were.
Yeah. I was such a huge hit. They haven't asked me back since.
Well, you did such a nice job. You set a precedent. Well, we'll see. Right now, this is Washington trying to blow this game wide open here.
Runner goes and oh, it's caught by Otero. Double play.
Oh my goodness! That
Second time tonight that the Nationals have hit a line drive into a double play.
That ball, he just reacted to it. That was like a play last night. Genmar Gomez made a diving stop on the mound. This one, it's just reaction, baby. Right down near his glove. He was off and running, had the bag stolen. And Zimmerman comes up and just, you can't believe it. As a hitter, you're thinking, all right, there's a hit, an RBI. Are you kidding me? I hit into a double play. And
I don't know if we have a shot of it, but I was watching third base where Jason Worth was. His reaction was priceless. He was about 5 feet off the bag. He just dropped both hands to his knees and looked down at the ground. Is like, are you?
Yeah.
He was like stunned that happened. Swung on and missed by Danny Espinosa.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was a big opportunity because they were trying to really blow this game open and knock the Indians out. But they get out of here just still a 3-run lead. Not bad.
Tell you what, if Danny Espinosa were a missing person and they showed the picture on the scoreboard as this is the guy we're looking for, you'd never know the guy at the plate was the same guy. Little bit inside. 1-2 the count. Look at that beard.
It's like Adam LaRoche.
That is impressive. That's got to be 5-6 inches of growth off that chin. And now you look at him.
Well, he shaved today. Maybe by tomorrow's noon game, it might be like that.
Ground ball to first. Napoli has it. And the inning is over. You talk about dodging a big old bullet. The Indians did, but the Nationals still lead it 5-2. Mike Napoli, Carlos Santana, Jose Ramirez for Cleveland. The Indians got off to a fast start in the first, even though they only had one hit in that opening inning. But they have not been able to dent the scoreboard since. Tribe scored 2 in the opening frame. But then Gio Gonzalez settled in. He's thrown 74% of his pitches for strikes since that first inning.
Okay. He's made the adjustment. But what you need, get a couple base runners, get him back out of that stretch again, where he was like he was in the first.
Well, I'm sure Dusty Baker will be quick to get the bullpen in action if Gonzalez shows any signs of faltering here in the 6th.
He's going through his numbers and charts right now.
Three and one the count. I lost it in the sky. I think it's out of play.
It's out of play behind the plate somewhere.
You get that weird twilight time. A full count for Napoli, who walked in the first, then he singled in the third. And he rings him up.
That's strikeout number 4 for Gonzalez. Take a look at it. Full count. Oh boy, a little low maybe.
No, I don't think so. When the catcher brings the glove up that much, that tells you it's not a strike. I mean, as an umpire, you should see that. He framed that thing a good 6 inches. Fourth strikeout for Gonzalez, 1 down, and now Carlos Santana. Ground ball to short. 2 away.
Right there, Espinosa. Once he goes down, he just makes sure I have to get up, make easy throw. He had plenty of time. He realized that. With 2 quick outs.
Jose Ramirez flied to deep center in the first and singled in the fourth. Two balls and a strike. And that'll even the count of 2-2. Jose Ramirez, who has had a terrific season. He's 1 for 2 tonight and very easily could be 2 for 2 if not for a great running catch by the center fielder Trey Turner in the opening frame tonight. But even Jose has had a tough go of late. Came in his last 50 at bats with just 10 hits, well below what he's done over the course of the season. And let's face it, the Indians have asked a lot of Ramirez to basically step in and be the protection for the middle of that order. He's made a number of starts in the 5 spot, usually when Santana's leading off. Right at the shortstop, Espinosa, and the Indians go 1-2-3. 6 complete. It's 5-2 Washington. Indians baseball is brought to you by the injury lawyers at Elk & Elk. Proud partner of the Cleveland Indians. Call 1-800-ELK, Ohio. By Ford, built Ford tough. And by Key Bank. Use the red key. Member FDIC. Ben Revere will lead off here in inning number 7 for Washington. The number 9 hitter has hit the ball right on the nose twice tonight, and he's 0 for 2. He lined out for the first baseman in the second and the left fielder in the fourth. This guy's been a terrific pickup for the Indians this year.
He went out there and snagged that line drive to turn the double play and get the next hitter so quickly. We didn't have time to give his numbers. He got 3 outs in the drop of a hat. But yes, he's been that. I think that guy like last year was Manship. This year is Otero, where he is invited into spring training. Come out, his numbers are very good.
Chopped up the middle. Lindor stops it. Throw. Got him. What a play.
Revere's going to shake his head and say, what do I have to do to get a base hit?
Well, you don't hit it to that guy, that's for sure. The Indians all-star shortstop with all-out larceny here in the 7th inning.
Boy, that ball was by him. He gets up quickly, and this is a fleet-footed Revere that he's able to get up and throw out, by the way. Beautiful play.
Now Trey Turner, he's 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. Good looking pitch. 2-1.
That one had a little movement to come back in on the dish.
And that's a foul ball, as Napoli gave it a great effort. If that's fair, that's trouble, because with his speed, it's easily a double.
Well, it had spin to it as well. You can see that thing hitting it just took off. Well, he took it earlier in the at-bat. It was called a ball. He took it there, and it was called a ball. That one didn't have the movement that came in like he did for the second strike, or for the strike.
Swung and missed at that one. 2 down.
Well, Jim Thome, Albert Bell, Frank Robinson, and Charlie Jameson will be inducted into the Indians Hall of Fame this Saturday when the Indians host the Oakland A's. 15,000 fans will get a Thome bobblehead courtesy of Medical Mutual, and post-game followers will follow the ball game.
2 downers. Bryce Harper. He is 0 for 3 in the ball game, but he's hit the ball pretty hard in 2 of those 3 at bats. He sent Rajai Davis to the wall in center field in the first. Almonte to the wall in right field in the third, and then bounced into a fielder's choice in that 5th inning, facing the lefty Kyle Crockett. 2-0. through his personal struggles at the plate, Bryce Harper, the one thing that he maintains is, look, I'm sitting there right now with 20 home runs. If I end up with 20 home runs, but I drive in 80 and we're playing in October,
bingo.
I'm not going to be crying about it.
No, sir. That's the objective of any player. You know, you can have a monster year, but if you're not playing when the leaves are turning colors, everybody else is at home watching.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate goal, man. That's what you strive for when you start right in February.
It's hit to center. Rajay calling for it. So is Ramirez, but Rajay makes the catch. Nationals go 1-2-3. Stretch time in Cleveland. The Indians are down 3. Top. That's a great look down in that right field corner. And those seats are accessible for any of the fans that sit down in that area. You walk down, hang out there for a half inning or an inning. A little different perspective.
Thought I saw Koha down there.
No.
I did. He may be lurking. I saw that. There you go. That's what gave you away, Marky. I saw you out there.
You saw the vest?
Yes, I did.
Uribe fouls one straight back.
DP. It's like, where's Waldo? We found Waldo. He was sitting out there.
The 0-2. And Uribe clobbers one. Deep center. Back is Turner on the warning track. Makes the catch. For out number 1 on the 100th pitch of the night from Gio Gonzalez.
Boy, after that first inning, boy, did he flip the switch and turn it around to a place where he's had a lot of success. And against a team he's had a lot of success. He's looking to go 6-0 in his career against these guys.
But as you said too, a lot of that was built up when the Indians were a left-handed dominant lineup. They were lucky to find a couple of right-handed bats.
That's true.
In some of those starts he had earlier against the Indians. Almonte chases one.
He's been able to breeze through the bottom part of this lineup. 7, 8, 9.
I mean, the Indians have done a good job against left-handed starters this year. I mean, in years past, it was just kryptonite when a left-handed starter would go out there. But they're 17 and 10 on the year against the lefty starters.
They've held their own, absolutely.
And that's a fair ball. Let's see if Almonte can make it a perfect 5 for 5. He's on his way. He's in there safely. How about that? Almonte has 5 hits this year. All 5 have been doubles. And it's a 1-out double. And hopefully will lead to something offensively for the Indians here tonight. Just over the bag.
Yeah, that split the bag right over it and gets down to the line. He hustles and gets himself in to scoring position. So could that spark this offense a little bit? You got to face Perez and then get back to the top of the lineup.
Dusty Baker's going to make the slow walk to the mound.
Oh yeah, he's seen enough. He's going to go to his bullpen and makes the call. So a good start for Gio tonight.
Yeah, and it looks like Blake Trinan, the right-hander, will come on for the Nationals. Gio Gonzalez goes 6 in the 3rd. He can win it. He cannot lose it. We've got a timeout in Cleveland. Is brought to you by Ford, built Ford tough. By the injury lawyers at Elk & Elk, proud partner of the Cleveland Indians. Call 1-800-ELK, Ohio. And by Adventure Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram. Up to 25% off on 2016s. Save now. Bottom of the 7th, 1 on, 1 out for Cleveland. They're down 3. Gio Gonzalez, his night is over after 6 in the 3rd. And the new pitcher is right-hander Blake Trinan. He's a sinker baller who can rush it up there in a hurry.
Yes, he can.
With an ERA of just over 2. And this is a pretty good bullpen collectively for the Washington Nationals.
Yeah, Trinan 4-1, 11 holds for him this year. So he's on to try and get that, last couple outs in this inning. Lonnie Chisenhall's going to pinch hit for Perez.
They lead the major leagues in bullpen ERA. So this will be no easy task. But we'll see if Lonnie Chisenhall can spark a rally. Slowly chop off the glove of the third baseman. Almonte will score. Lonnie, a big turn. He'll hold with a pinch hit RBI single to make it a 5-3 ball game. This is where sometimes now that's a score to base hit. But we get into these conversations about strikeouts and putting the ball in play. Sometimes you put a ball in play, good things happen.
Well, yeah, he deflects it. Rondon deflects it. It goes into the outfield. He gets an RBI on the first pitch. You know, and he didn't hit it that hard, but, you know, that's the break. So they get on the board. It's a 5-3 game, and they're bringing the, you know.
Look at Lonnie. He'll tell you that wasn't exactly my best ball, but you know what?
Bowling ball.
Well, yeah, against this guy, not exactly easy to elevate. There's Rajay Davis. He shoots one, but that's fouled on the right side. Well, the Indians scratching one out here in the 7th. That run charged to Gonzalez. He gives up 3 6 1/3 officially.
This is what the Indians had done when they were going through their string of playing so well at home, scoring late in the ball game from 7 through 9.
Had a chased one, but at 96, it's not exactly easy to lay off. Ball starts out in the strike zone and starts to disappear. On the year, not necessarily at home, but overall in the year, they've been outscored in the 7th inning. They've outscored their opponents by 1 run in the 8th, and they've outscored the opposition by 6 in the 9th. But I think if we broke that down home and road, it would paint a different story. And Rajay hits into a double play, and the inning comes to an end. But the Indians get a run, and after 7, it's 5-3 Washington. Broadcast is presented by authority of the Cleveland Indians and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians. Well, we go to the 8th inning, and the Indians are down 5-3. And the 5th pitcher of the night will be Austin Adams. And he's got the meat of the order. 3, 4, and 5 hitters due up for the Nats. Chris Jimenez takes over behind the plate. And Lonnie Chisenhall is now in right field. Got it in, and he swung over the top of it. Popped him up. Uribe might have a play here. He goes to the railing and comes back. One away. As promised earlier, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. Last time up, Wilson Ramos fouled the ball off of his foot. He was in pain. Not that anybody in the Nationals dugout cared, because he's a catcher. You don't come out and check on catchers. He recovered nicely.
Boy, did he ever. Hit his 15th going the opposite way, and he was able to cruise around. He didn't have to run hard on that sore foot.
Adams with a good off-speed pitch. In the dirt, 1 ball, 1 strike. And there for a strike.
Well, sliders tonight. You know, when we saw him pitch in Baltimore, the fastball, he wasn't commanding it, falling behind, and then ended up throwing it down the middle. So maybe slowing himself down a little bit. He's throwing some sliders for strikes, which is nice to see.
Swung on and missed. He put him away with it. And Austin Adams has retired the first 2 here in the 8th inning. And if the Indians are going to come from behind, they've got to have a performance like this from Adams. Daytime baseball tomorrow afternoon. Carrasco and Strasburg, the matchup. Our day begins with Indians live at 11:30. First pitch at noon right here on Sports Time Ohio.
A great pitching matchup that should be.
Is it ever? Fastball, and it's in for a strike to Jason Worth, who is 2 for 3. He doubled in a run in the first, struck out in the 4th. He doubled in the 6th.
Looks like a different guy tonight, Adams does, coming out. 8 pitches, 7 strikes.
I wonder if that's just confidence in that secondary pitch that's working
let's
for him.
hope so, man. I mean, that's all you need to do. You don't have to throw a wipeout side. If you throw that breaking ball first time or first pitch, throw it for a strike.
Oh my. Adams can't believe it wasn't called a strike, but I will give Alan Porter credit. He doesn't like that pitch. He hasn't called it. It looks like a strike. Oh, I mean that.
Well, it's not low. It's not outside.
Backed up with that off-speed pitch. I mean, there were a couple of pitches that both Manship and Otero threw to that same spot that he wasn't calling. That pitch in particular, though, looked like it was on the plate. And a full count. Ball right at the shortstop, Lindor. 1, 2, 3 go the Nats. Austin Adams with a very solid performance here in the 8th inning. Felipe Rivero is on for Washington. Left-hander will face the 2, 3, and 4 hitters in the Indians lineup. Overall, Rivero's numbers not all that impressive.
No, but you look at his last 10 games, and it's been very impressive. No runs allowed in 17 1/3 innings and 15 strikeouts. He gets that fastball up there about 95, so he has been pitching well recently. He's going to face Kipnis, Lindor from the right side, and then Napoli.
I thought it was interesting that Washington claims that among all left-handed relievers, only Aroldis Chapman has better average velocity on his fastball than this guy, and you never hear anything about him.
That's true. Well, being maybe a different league or anything like that, but you know, you get off to a slow start. You know, his rookie year was last year, and I'm not sure he was there all year long, so he's out, probably still learning. With a matchup guy, and he's been doing very well.
Jason Kipnis 1 for 3, doubled and scored in the first.
Well, there you have it, 96, first pitch.
And then he goes off-speed pitch, and it's quickly 0-2. Will it drop center field? Dive, no, can't get there, and it gets by him. Kipnis on his way to second, and he'll stop there. Was backed up smartly by Harper. The right fielder came all the way over as Trey Turner, the rookie center fielder, went into a full diving sprawl, but came up empty.
I know when you're coming in, you want to catch this ball, but it's only a 2-run game. You don't want to let it get behind you. And he thought he could catch it, but he missed it by a foot, at least a foot, and he was on a dead sprint. You might be better off playing it safe. Give him the single. You keep the double play in order. It was an 0-2 pitch. Kipnis hit it off the end of the bat. Wasn't a bad pitch. He did a good job to put it in place. Credited with a double.
Well, let's see if the Indians can get it rolling now. Lindor. He's 1 for 3 tonight. Fouls it back.
The one thing that does, it brings a tying run to the plate every time now with Kipnis at second. So you've got to find a way to try and get him home this inning.
Lindor with a base hit into left field. Kipnis coming around third. He'll be stopped there. Revere got to it quickly, and that's a smart decision, I think, by Mike Sarbaugh. With nobody out, you've got a chance now for a big inning as Mike Napoli is coming to the plate.
Yeah, you can't force the ticket. You're down 2 runs in the 8th inning and nobody out, as you say. But Lindor does a nice job of getting that ball. It finds the hole under Espinosa's glove into left field.
And if you watch this closely, Kipnis isn't quite at third base by the time Revere has the ball in his glove.
No, you can't take that chance. Not even close. It's a short throw from there. He was thinking about it, but you can't do it. So Maddox is now the pitching coach, coming out, having a talk with Rivero. But the Indians have a start, man. This is what they're looking for. Tying runs aboard.
They haven't really done much all night long, but they've got a chance now. With 2 on and nobody out, we'll go down to Andre quickly.
Well, with Instagram and social media as popular as it is, and these great cameras that we have here at Fox, sometimes incidents happen that you catch and you have to shake your head. Earlier, you were talking about the old names of the Washington Nationals, like the Senators and different things like that.
Look at that.
Well, check out that base, guys.
Washington Senators.
I think that's when the governor was playing, right? You were playing back then, weren't you?
Not with the Senators. No,
Well,
sir.
I'm messing with you. But after that was caught by a couple people, the guys down here quickly changed the bases, and they simply say Indians right now. The Senator ones are gone. I have to find one.
Oh, those are collector's items now.
No doubt.
You know everybody's going to want one of those. Wow, that's pretty cool. That's wild. More wild that somebody saw that on TV and caught it.
It is.
Well, Mike Napoli has a chance to do some serious damage now. He has singled, walked, and struck out. And it's 2-0. Nobody up in that Nationals bullpen yet. But that may change quickly.
Yeah, you're darn right it might.
Oh, he didn't want to, but he went around. It's 2-1.
Trying to cheat a little bit. He had a 2-0 count. He was looking for something he could drive. He tried to open up and cheat a little bit. Watch that front side open, and didn't like it, so he couldn't check himself.
And a throw to first drives Lindor back. At Fenway Park in Boston, Red Sox Tigers can't seem to get ahead of each other. It's 8-8 now. There's a 2-1 coming to Napoli. Snap throw to first, close, but he's safe.
Boy, that's a nice quick move there. Didn't know. I'm sure the scouting report had it, but they just got back. Sandy's saying, all right, don't go as far. See the step off move. He went over there first time with a regular move. That's his A move there. Step off, throw to first, made it awfully quick and close.
Felipe Rivero with a 2-1 pitch to Napoli. And again, he's caught him in between 2-2. And Mike trying to reset. And a 2-2 pitch. In the dirt, full count.
Kelly just got up, has thrown a couple of pitches. Well, crowd starting to get into it. Full count, nobody out. First and third, down a pair. Great opportunity for the Tribe in the eighth.
23,711. The payoff pitch. Ground ball right at the shortstop. Espinosa had trouble with it. They get one and still turn the double play.
Wow, amazing they could get two after he bobbled that ball, but he didn't panic. When they do turn the two, the Indians do get the run. It's a one-run ball game now. You know, but that's, you see, once you bobble a ball, a lot of times it's short. He jumped right on it and got it over to Murphy in a heartbeat. Hey, and I give Murphy credit. He still tried to turn it and had time. No, it's a 5-4 ball game, but they clear the bases.
Boy,
and that's even more important.
You go back to the weekend in Baltimore and how the Indians came within an eyelash twice of turning a double play, but Orioles batter runners beat it out both times, and it led to runs in big innings in both instances. And here tonight, a ball that's mishandled, and they still are able to turn that double play. But the run did score. So a 5-4 ball game with Carlos Santana at the plate. Santana with a fly ball, deep left field. If it's fair, it could be trouble. It goes foul right in front of the home run pole. My goodness.
He went out to hook that ball. Maybe that's why it had so much hook to it. It was maybe a little bit off the end of the bat. Don't know if it would have had the distance. If it was fair, it was high enough. But it is hooking, and it is hooking. But it is foul. You see him try and get out there and pull that ball down the line. And he knows it's going to be close.
Trying to go the other way this time. Harper over and makes the catch, ending the inning. The Indians clawing their way back down a run as we go to the ninth.
Five to 4 as we head to the ninth inning. Back over here at the corner along with Jensen Lewis, Al Pulowski, and boy, Jensen, the Indians got one run in the eighth, but first and third, nobody out. Another key double play.
And it's happened at least for the past 4 games. That's now the 8th double play the Indians have hit into. But I want to ask Matt and Rick as we go to the top of the ninth. Guys, I don't know if it's pressing. I don't know if guys are trying to do a little too much. But, you know, to me, it just seems like the opportunities have been there. They just haven't been able to cash in on them.
A lot of times, you know, that happens when you're rolling as a team. Sometimes you get the big base hits. When you don't, sometimes you don't. And you know, they hit into a double play. I'm surprised they did, even if they bobbled the ball. And there's Rendon again with a high hopper, goes off Uribe. And now we'll see how they score that. But that's the first pitch, and back comes Washington. This ball hit. I mean, it's hit hard. There's the hop. And into the dirt and off the arm, the forearm of Uribe. I'm sure that'll be a double. Well, really? I better wait. You're right. I should wait. See where that ball hit him. He never even got leather on it.
Yeah, they're going to rule that one an error. Take your pick.
I'll tell you what. You don't like Uribe or what? I mean, that ball was hit hard.
Couple of curious decisions tonight, no doubt. More importantly, the Indians can't afford to fall any further behind, you wouldn't think. So Austin Adams has got to bear down Brian Shaw, and is up in the pen. Tell you what, if you can't get that called, I don't know how you survive. In the air, right field shallow near the line.
No, it won't get him to third.
One down. Recapping our keys to the game, courtesy of Mazda. They've handled Bryce Harper to this point. Haven't really had any tough decisions to make with him. And Gio Gonzalez. You know, he pitched well. He had a rough first inning, but after that he settled in, did a nice job. Again, he's in line to win it, cannot lose it. And we've got a timeout for another pitching change. Brian Shaw will be coming on after Austin Adams goes an inning and a third. It's 5-4 Washington here in the ninth.
Are just $15 for kids 12 and under with the purchase of an adult ticket. Located in the family deck at Progressive Field by the Kids Clubhouse. Kids tickets are only available at Indians.com.
Well, the kids here tonight hoping to see Brian Shaw get out of this inning and give the Indians one last chance in their last at bat. He's got a runner at second with one out, and Danny Espinosa coming up. Brian Shaw is the 6th Indians pitcher to work here tonight. Danny Salazar, the starter, wasn't feeling well, went 4 innings, gave up 4 runs on 4 hits. Kyle Crockett worked a scoreless inning. Jeff Manship faced 3 batters, gave up 3 hits in the 6th inning. And then Dan Otero came on and literally pulled a rabbit out of the hat with a double play and then pitched a scoreless 7th. Austin Adams a scoreless 8th. The runner reaching here in the 9th, but he got it out after that. And now the first ball that Shaw throws hits Danny Espinosa. And now there are 2 on.
It sure did. It looked like it caught him on the back foot. And it might have got a piece of Jimenez, too. Well, that first pitch got away, and you can see it's his back foot. Let's see. Goes down. He gets the right one. Yeah, it sure did. It caught the pant of the front leg, and right on top of that foot, it gets Jimenez, too. And it goes rolling out into fair territory.
Looked like it got him.
Oh, it got the umpire.
Inside of the toe of Espinosa.
It got all 3 of them.
So now there are 2 aboard with 1 out, and Ben Revere, the number 9 hitter, is the batter. And I don't know what was wrong. That's a strike. Called a ball. And there are 2 on, 1 out. Shaw looks and fires, and that's outside. 2-0. I think it's funny they talk about speeding up the game, and then they talk about shrinking the strike zone? Really? 3-0.
Well, Rivera, guy, he's let off before. He's going to make him get in the strike zone. You've got first and second. He's not going to, I wouldn't think, give him anything for free. He may make him throw 3 straight.
Three and 1.
You're a guy that's 0 for 3 and could easily be 3 for 3 tonight.
He swung and fouled it out of play. Full count. And the payoff pitch. Jimenez, his only play is, no, he didn't have a play at first. And the bases are loaded with only one.
Well, he wasn't going to throw it because he realized nobody was at the plate. And I don't know, it would have been questionable if he could have got Rivera at first base, so he just held on to it. And you know, you never know if he was coming around to try and score on this. That's exactly what Chris thought behind the plate. Trickled out in front of the plate, and he was going after it. Shaw goes away, and that runner, you see the coach? He was saying, pick it up. Pick it up. It's at first base. And he was letting him make his own decision. But I think it's a wise move. You still have bases loaded now. It'll go as an infield single. So now he's got to work hard to try and keep him off the board and keep it a one-run game.
Infield comes in. And Trey Turner digs in. And it's high ball 1. Fouled right back. I thought they initially ruled that an error in the 5th inning for Trey Turner.
No, you mean, no, the ball was hit to Kipnis. They gave him a hit.
Oh, I just marked it down an error. I got you. They gave him a hit. That was not
right.
A hit. Line to first. Napoli has it go off the glove. And nobody's at the bag. And the Nationals get another run. And they now lead it 6-4.
Yeah.
That went from possibly being another inning-ending double play to now the Nationals extend the lead.
Wow. Well, it's hit right at Knapp, and it was on the ground. But
I couldn't tell. Was it a one-hopper or was it a line?
I think it was a line drive. It goes as an error. So the Indians now with 3 errors tonight. But they do get the run across. So it's now 6-4. Bases still loaded. And he wants to know, am I cutting it off at home plate? And he wants to say, well, I got to come in even with the bag with this guy hit.
Bryce Harper 0 for 4 on the night. One ball, one strike. And a strike called. Took off on him. 2-2. This is just, I don't even know how you really explain how this inning has unfolded. There's been technically one hit in the inning, and that went about 20 feet.
Yeah, the softest ball hit in the inning. You're right.
And yet the bases are loaded. A run is in. And now you've got a full count on Bryce Harper. 2 errors, a hit batter. And Brian Shaw about to unleash the payoff pitch. Right back to him. He knocks it down, comes home. They get the out there. And there are 2 down. Yeah, that was tailor-made for an inning-ending double play.
Yes,
and
it was. You got to catch it.
Lucky to get one the way that worked out.
You catch it cleanly, it could be a 1-2-3 double play. Once he couldn't hold it, you just make sure you get the lead runner at home. Now you've got one tough out to get for the final out here in a really strange inning.
And Daniel Murphy is the batter. In there for a strike. Changed to one on the dirt, and it's quickly no balls, 2 strikes. Detroit has gone ahead of Boston 9-8 in the 7th inning at Fenway.
There you're going to see the slider from Shaw. Gets him to chase that ball. He likes it down and in. He thought it was going to be right into his wheelhouse. It ends up bounced in the dirt.
Chicago, the White Sox, they beat the Cubs again. Shut them out 3-0.
That was James Shields for the White Sox.
And Kansas City is being blanked at home by the Angels 5-0 in the 7th inning. Yeah, Shields has been a different guy since we saw him last. The 0-2 on the ground. Kipnis throws him out. Last chance for the Indians, down 2 when we come back. go to the bottom of the ninth. Jonathan Papelbon, the last time he pitched, he gave up 4 hits, a walk, and 4 earned runs.
Well, the Indians could use that tonight.
Jonathan Papelbon, according to the Washington Post, is doing the Nats more harm than good.
Well, that's why I think maybe they've been in the sweepstakes looking for a closer or some help out of that bullpen. But he's 19 out of 21. Save opportunities. Of course, we don't get a chance to see him pitch on a daily basis. 30 strikeouts in his 32 in the third innings, 10 walks. Used to have that high fastball and then the split to put you away. I remember when he was with Boston.
He's only throwing 65% of his pitches for strikes, which is his lowest rate since '09. And when he used to just put people away, when batters are behind in the count, they still have a .489 OPS. Again, according to the Washington Post story. That's on base plus slugging percentage. Jose Ramirez will lead it off in the ninth. And looks at ball one up high. That .489 OPS when they're behind in the count, it jumps up to .835 when a hitter is ahead in the count. And this guy used to be pretty much nails. 2-0.
You got to make him get in the strike zone. That's it. 89 miles an hour, man. That's a long way off from the last time we saw him.
To your point, Arch, his average velocity is the lowest of his career, and it's more than 3 miles an hour less than it was in 2012. So that's just in 4 years.
If he's still trying to pitch that high fastball with 89, that could be trouble.
Oh, he chased a ball in the dirt, helping him out. It's 2-2.
Well, this is the split right here. Watch it disappear. Good pitch. That's the wipeout pitch. That's what you want when you see 2 strikes. See if he tries to come back with it again.
Upstairs, full count. Well, this tells you everything you need to know about where the Nationals are right now as far as is Papelbon the closer and that's it, or is there some doubt? Well, they've got 2 guys up in the bullpen while he's trying to close this game out to start the inning, mind you. Now the 3-2 to Jose. Pop back out of play.
Left-hander Oliver Perez. Kelly, who was up earlier. Sean Kelly, he's the right-hander. He's loose. He's ready. Called upon. Get that leadoff man aboard. It certainly helps.
The 3-2. Ball 4. And the tying run will come to the plate in the bottom of the ninth for Cleveland. Now, after that awful outing on Sunday, Papelbon said after the ball game, I feel like I still know how to do it in big situations. I know what it's going to take to be that guy on the mound to throw the last pitch. He said, but whatever this team feels like they need, if they feel like it's an absolute need for our team, then we'll roll with the punches.
Well, let me ask you this. How many times do you see a pitching coach go out with their closer on the mound after one hitter?
batter.
And, you know, and they walk the first guy. So, you know, it was sort of surprised me. He got the swing and miss at that splitter down, but he never went back to it again. When he got to 2 strikes, he had a 2-2 count and threw a couple of high fastballs.
Well, one thing's for certain, no matter how this inning turns out, Dusty Baker's not going to allow Papelbon to have an inning like he did on Sunday, because he's got 2 guys ready to come in at a moment's notice now. And Tyler Naquin bats for Juan Uribe. And at the bottom of the zone at best, and I don't think that was a strike.
Well, you certainly
sound like a broken record, like I'm second guessing every call, but that does not look like a strike.
You don't want to help a guy out that's having a tough time throwing strikes. That's for sure. I don't care, how long you've been in the league or not.
And that was a good fastball. Oakland swings through it, and he's in the hole 0-2.
The Indians tonight, as I told you before, they have the worst pinch hitting batting average in hits. Although Chisenhall did get a base hit and an RBI tonight, that was their 5th pinch hit on the year.
3-0-2, up and away. Good eye by Naquin. Jose Ramirez leading off the inning with a walk. Naquin the tying run at the plate. Hits are even at 8 apiece. He just slapped it toward left center field. That's in the alley. That'll get down. It'll go to the wall. Ramirez around third. He will score. Naquin into second with an RBI double. It's a 1-run game.
Did you see that pitch he hit right there? He picked that ball up off the ground. I don't know if any other hitter on that team could have hit that pitch that Naquin just hit.
That's why
he did damage.
That's why, I know you agree with me, that's why he's got to be in the lineup every day.
Well, there you see it. Look, he picked it up and he didn't try and do too much. I guarantee you Papelbon's shaking his head saying, that's my best splitter right there. I guess maybe he should have bounced it. But that he picked up a 9-iron and just rocketed that to left field. Drives in the run. So they're 2 for 2 tonight pinch hitting. Chisenhall has one. Now Naquin. Both of them with RBIs. That's the tying run out there at second base. So now you got to see a bunt here. You've got to see a bunt here.
Well, Chris Jimenez squares. Pulls it back. It's low, ball 1.
You've got good speed. The only thing Naquin has to do at second base, don't get caught if he bunts through the ball. Make sure the ball's on the ground. They're rushing Zimmerman at first. So if you can, I don't care, bunt it to third. If you just get it on the ground, you've got good speed at second. There you
stays
go.
fair.
Well done.
Zimmerman's throw. Pulled him up the bag. Indians tie the game. Naquin scores. Jimenez into second. Jordan. Whoa, my. Unbelievable play. Ryan Zimmerman just off the DL today. He came in and fielded the ball. And Rick, it looked like he went to maybe a sidearm buggy whip to throw it around Jimenez and threw it wildly.
Well, that's their first mistake tonight. And I'll tell you what, it comes at the wrong time for them. Great job by Jimenez to get the bunt down. There you'll see he underhands it, and it brings Murphy off the bag. So Jimenez goes to second base. You can't pinch run for him because there's no other catchers. And now you've got Chisenhall, still nobody out. And they're going to intentionally walk Chiz. Oh boy, this is going to get exciting now. We've got a tie game. You've got nothing to lose if you're the Tribe. Here's a game. If they come back and snatch this one back, this is one you say they didn't have an opportunity to win this game, and they're going to come back and steal it.
Well, they're not there yet, but they're close. They're going to walk Chisenhall, as Arch told you. Nobody out.
You got Rajai coming up to the plate. Wow.
Winning run at second base.
Dusty, is he going to go to his pen?
Well, that scored a sacrifice, by the way,
right.
and then an error on the first baseman Zimmerman.
Agreed. Their first blemish on the card. The Indians have made 3 errors tonight.
And you know what? Again, it's not over yet, but how did this inning start?
Lead-off walk.
A lead-off walk.
Lead-off walk. Here comes the bunt. It's a great job. He's going to get the guy to third. So there's your sacrifice. But the error comes. He fields it with his glove, and wow, a wide throw. Nothing Murphy could do. Really, it looked like a pretty routine play. But it turns into an error, and that's a tie ball game. And the winning run is on second base. And with Davis, here you go. We got another bunt situation.
This game hanging in the balance now, tied at 6, bottom of the 9th. 2 on, nobody out. The wheel play on for Washington. Rajay puts it over his head. Everybody's safe.
How about that? With the charge and the wheel play, the shortstop was going to third. Rondon was rushing in from third. Davis pushed it over his head. What a great
Do you
job.
think he did that on purpose?
Absolutely. He saw the shortstop break. Watch, it's early enough. He knows what's coming. He just pushes it. Yes, I do. I do think he did that on purpose. It goes as a base hit. Now they've got a chance to win it. Baker's out, makes the move.
Wow, he yanks Papelbon with the bases loaded and nobody out in the bottom of the 9th. And this crowd will send Jonathan Papelbon to the showers with a nice ovation, I'm sure. Time out in Cleveland. They're going to go to the left-hander to face Kipnis when we come back. Getting it out. This is the Pat O'Brien plays of the game.
Well, yeah, that's a beautiful sacrifice here. But then the throw really, I mean, that's hard to believe. It was a routine play. They're giving you an out. Naquin scores. And then the second one here coming. Rajai Davis reads the wheel play and just couldn't have thrown it out there with his hand any better. You know, you had to wait if you were Geminis because it was up in the air until it landed. But, you know, nobody was going to get there. What a heads-up play. He knew it. I guarantee he knew it.
And don't forget the great pinch hit by Tyler Naquin.
Yes, indeed.
On a nasty pitch. Well, here's the ball game. Infield in, outfield in. Tyler Naquin, or rather Jason Kipnis at the plate. Left-hander Oliver Perez on the mound, and here we go. Kipnis breaks his bat. Left field, Revere will make the catch. And no chance for Jimenez to tag and score. He almost got doubled off. Nice play by Rendon. That's the first out of the inning.
Well, you couldn't take a chance with Jimenez in that situation there. Shallow play. They were playing very shallow. Kip broke his bat. He had to go back a few steps, but that's way too shallow to send Chris in that situation. But he almost cut it and got tagged.
That was really close.
So now the same situation. Infielders, I don't think are going to play for the double play. It looks they're looking in right now to their dugout. Chris Spire, the bench coach, he's going to set his defense. And you can't pinch run for Chris because he's the last catcher.
It would be a real roll of the dice if Terry did. Lindor, the batter, he ropes it foul.
The infield's in. You just need something away from one of their fielders. Remember that pressure's on the pitcher. He's going to try to play to your aggressiveness.
Base hit, Indians win it. Do something they haven't done a ton of this year, but they've done a lot more of it lately, and that's come from behind and win. They've been a team for most of the year which has built its reputation on scoring first and holding off the other guy. Tonight they were down early, they were down in the middle, they were down late, but Francisco Lindor with his first ever walk-off hit delivers, and the Indians win the ball game.
Matt, this is a game they did not play a very good game. One they should have lost. They came back to win. Now we talked about that on the road where you give up games where you should have won and you let them lose. This is one you got to mark in the other column for them. They should have lost it. They come back to win it. Good for them. What a way to start off this homestand.
There's no doubt they snatched victory from the jaws of defeat. In Washington, they'll be saying it just the other way around.
Absolutely. We should have won it. We gave it to them, but yeah.
The Indians go to 57-41 on the year. Washington falls to 58-42 on a